Slick, how you doing?
Rosie, you look gorgeous today.
Atta boy, Slick. You are my idol.
Oh, Slick, honey, I sure wish I could believe anything you say.
I just figured out that you tricked me.
Well, that was the whole point, though.
Okay, this time, I'll think of a number, and you have to guess it. Okay,
4.
got it.
Huh?
That's amazing.
Later.
How does he do it?
Yeah, I've been running the shell game down on Maple Street. You know, the mark has to guess which shell the pea or whatever is under. Only there are peas under all the shells, so when the guy says it's under one, I show him it's under another.
Hey, Maurice.
Oh.
What's going on?
Oh, I'm just surprised you didn't try something like I don't know, that shell game on me. You know, to fool me.
You won't give up, will you?
I guess you're just afraid you can't fool me.
Okay, you want the shell game? Yeah? I'll give you the shell game. Be right back after this story. He wants the shell game.
This is a true story. It happened to a friend of mine, a guy named Frank. Now, Frank ain't what you'd call a rocket scientist. You could say he was a couple of clowns short of a circus. So, one day, Frank's wife had an urge for a navel orange. She was pregnant again and had all kinds of urges. She asked him to go to the store and get her an orange and some other stuff. Okay, so there's Frank, standing in the cereal aisle of the store reading labels on boxes. Frank's wife told him to make sure he checked the salt content of every cereal, because if there was too much salt, she'd retain water. Frank didn't know exactly what that meant, but it sounded ugly. He was concentrating so hard that he almost didn't see the little old lady next to him. "Would you be a dear and read this for me, Sonny?" she asked. "My eyes aren't what they used to be." So Frank read the label for her. "You're such a nice boy," she told him. Then she stared at him and said, "Thank you for your help," and was gone. A few minutes later, Frank was in the produce section looking for a good melon. Frank was knocking on his cantaloupe to test for freshness. "Excuse me." He couldn't believe it. The melon was talking to him. He was so shocked, he dropped it on the floor. Frank was really embarrassed, and he turned around to see if anyone was looking. And there was that old lady again. "I'm sorry if I startled you," she said. "Oh, it was you." Frank was relieved he wasn't hearing melons. The old lady was just staring at Frank. "Do I have something on my face or something?" No, it's just... Never mind. Sorry I bothered you," she said, and quickly wheeled her cart away. Next aisle over, Frank was trying to choose toilet paper. 2-ply or not 2-ply? He was really getting confused when there she was, staring at him. Frank was really getting the creeps, so he quickly steered his shopping cart around a display of pretzels and made for the frozen food section. He figured he'd be safe because it was way too cold for her old bones, but there she was again, giving him that stare. Frank pulled his cart into the checkout line, but the old lady got there first. "Pardon my staring," the old lady said. "You staring? I didn't notice." Frankie was trying to be cool. But then she started crying. "You look exactly like my long-lost son." Phew, she was just a sad old lady. "It's okay, lady, I understand." She kept on crying and crying. "You look exactly like him. Would you mind doing a poor old lady a favor?" "Anything," Frank said. This was really embarrassing. She asked Frank if he'd say goodbye, Mom, to her as she left the store. "It would make me feel so much better." Frank felt so sorry for the old lady, so he yelled out, "Goodbye, Ma, see you later." The "see you later" was his own idea. The cashier finished totaling Frank's bill. "That'll be $210.65. Frank said there must be some mistake. The only thing on his card was a box of cereal and an orange with a funny dent in it. Your mother said you'd be paying for hers, too. This is a true story. It happened to a friend of mine. And Frank's wife doesn't send him out food shopping anymore. They can't afford it.
Okay, Maurice, you got the shell game.
Well, this looks like it's going to be easy to fool me.
Okay, there. Now, look at this. I cover the grain of rice, see it that there, with the shell. Okay? Now, watch closely.
Wait. I'll be right back. Reading glasses.
Okay, watch closely. Where's the rice grain?
Let me think.
Which one?
The middle one.
The middle one. Are you sure?
It's under the middle one.
All right, here we go. Huh?
But Slick said it. Show me the other shells.
What?
I want to look under the other two shells.
Are you sure?
Let me see.
Yeah.
But there's supposed to be a rice grain under all the shells. Slick said so.
Which is why the moral of the story is never believe a guy named Slick.
All right, fine. Ha 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 ha. You fooled me this time. But I'm gonna get you next time, Larry. Because the cockroach ain't been born that can outwit this maggot.
Oh, man. There's one born every minute. Hey, you know what? Let's have another story.
This is a true story. It happened to a friend of mine. Jack loved the party scene. He was a club kid. Boy, that guy could party. He was a legend. He had a day job during the week, bicycle courier. I guess he had to pay for the partying somehow. There was an added benefit, though. With all that biking, he was in great shape. And I tell you, the guy was always checking his look in the mirror, genetically bias-sculpted. You know, never a hair out of place. And know what? It paid off big time. The girls were all over him. He left a string of broken-hearted secretaries across the entire East Side. Use him and lose him. That was his motto, which I guess brings us to our story. Jax caught wind of the non-stop party up on the colony, New Macau. Word had it that Macau was the place to be. So he buzzed Willie and the troll, and they hopped the big bird to Party Central. Jackson Company hit the club district like a house on fire. They were hot, and they knew it. People were calling to them from the doorways, you know, like, hey, you guys, why don't you come on in? The big debate was, which club would they honor with their presence? And so that's when Jax saw her. She was watching a sucker's wallet being lightened outside this little expatriate place. She was a hot little blonde number. She do. Jack slid up to her in the crowd. What's a nice girl like you doing in a place like this? That's original, she said, cracking a funny crooked smile at him. He was hooked. You do? Come on. She danced her way past the gent engineer gorilla doorman with Jax in hot pursuit. He stood in the doorway of the club. Now, where'd she go? Then he saw her in the tangled mass of club kids and Jack wiring halfway across the dance floor. She was waiting for him, swaying with the crowd and smiling that smile. He found some free earphones dangling from the overhead array. They plugged in. The Oxuma filled his head. He glanced back across the room. Willie was getting chummy with a club girl, and the troll. The troll was comparing her tattoos with one of the gorillas at the door. Then Jack saw that the blonde was trying to tell him something. He couldn't hear her over the Oxuma, so he took the phones off. She led him to a listening console and handed him another set of phones. Then she took a CD out of her purse and slid it into the console tray. Why don't you try this? Sang it myself. Karaoke Opsoma was the big thing on New Macau. The opera music filled his head. She adjusted his volume control, turned it way up, and then everything went black. Jax didn't know how long he'd been out. The pounding pain in his head woke him. Then, the door of the filthy hotel room came crashing open. Willie and the troll had been scouring New Macau looking for him for the last 2 days. Her eyes rolled up in her head as she passed out. Jax looked down at what she was pointing at. His body was gone. The blonde was a body snatcher. She'd stolen his body to sell for transplant parts and left him a prisoner, alive on a portable life support unit. Hey, it's a true story. Happened to a friend of mine. And Jax, he's giving up the party life. He's taking a desk job.
Later.